Hey YouTube, this is Mad Movie Mark with another Mad Movie Mark movie review. It's been a while, guys. I'm sorry for the hiatus. It's been about a month since I've posted anything on YouTube or anything on Instagram or Twitter, for that matter. I have, I think I've said it before. I'm finishing up my master's in business degree, MBA. I'm also studying for a Series 7 test, and I work full time. So as much as I want to pour everything I have into my YouTube channel and my movies review, it is just not always possible. But I managed to find some time tonight to go ahead and do a movie review of a movie that my fiance and I watched. I will do my top 5 least favorite movies of all time. I just have not been able to rewatch any of those yet, but they will be coming up fairly soon, I hope. And also, I'd like to thank Stephanie, my friend, who bought me this Mad Movie Mark sign for my birthday. I love it. I will have it up here for every episode I do. And here we go. So, the movie that we watched is called In the Shadow of the Moon. It has gotten very poor reviews on Rotten Tomatoes and on IMDb. I think Rotten Tomatoes, it is not fresh. IMDb, it is like 6 or sub 6 out of 10, which is not good. But we'll see if I liked it or not. It stars Boyd Holbrook as Locke, Cleopatra Coleman as Rhea, Bokeem Woodbine as Maddox, Michael C. Hall as Holt. He apparently was Dexter in the show Dexter, which I never watched. I was going to watch it, but my friend who suggested I should watch it right after, he said, "Hey, you should watch Dexter. By the way, here's how it ends. It's really bad." And he told me how it ended, and after that, I really didn't want to watch it. It was just a poor setup on his part. It's really great, but it's terrible. Here's how it ends. Then I didn't really want to watch it. Rudy Darmingham as Navarro. Sarah Dugdale plays an older Amy, which is Locke's daughter, and Quincy Kirkwood plays a younger version of Amy. So that is the basic cast. This movie mostly follows Boyd Holbrook. He is a cop in Philadelphia. He is just kind of living his life with his wife, who is pregnant with their first child. He gets called one night. He's working nights. He's working kind of graveyard shifts, with his wife does not like. He gets called just a regular night working the beats, and then people start dying just randomly, and they all seem to have the same way of dying, where they have these 3 bumps on the back of their neck. So he suspects a serial killer. Basically, his superior officer, Holt, does not want people to know that this might be a serial killer, because he doesn't want people to go crazy. But eventually, once it gets out that this is what's happening, they start to understand that, oh, this is probably a serial killer. Right away, they kind of determine who this person is. It is Rhea. She's a female. They're able to track her down. There's this kind of a subway scene where Boyd runs into Rhea. She starts talking about how his wife is pregnant, how she's going to give birth tonight, kind of what his wife's name is. She knows a lot about Locke that no one could possibly know. This leaves him very confused. She kind of subdues him and cuffs him to one of the benches in the subway, and then he is able to fight her, and he throws her into an oncoming subway train. Done, right? Well, you would think so. But unfortunately, Boyd's wife did give labor that night, and these are spoilers, by the way, in case anyone's wondering. Everything I basically do are spoilers. Boyd's wife gave birth that night, and then she ended up, unfortunately, passing away during the pregnancy. On a personal note, my fiance and I are hoping to have children next year, and this scene just tore us apart. Totally, we were both crying through this scene. It was really, really quite an emotional scene. So she gives birth. The child lives. She passes away. So we go kind of 9 years into the future, where he is raising his daughter, Amy, by himself. And right away, these killings start happening again. people dying the same way with the 3 dots in the back of the neck. They think that at first everyone thinks that it's just a copycat killer that has just resurfaced 9 years later. But Locke is not so sure. He thinks that he has evidence that somehow this is the same person that was doing it before, even though he killed her. So he eventually finds her, he confronts her. I won't go into too much detail about how he confronts her. And he realizes that she is basically a time traveler, and she's trying to stop something from happening in the future. So she's kind of in the future and she's going backwards, and they're in the present and going forward. And they're, every 9 years she's allowed to come back for a short period of time, so she can kill off specific people who are going to do bad things in the future. No one believes him when he tries to say that this is a time traveler, and he really wants to know how this person knows who he is and how he knows who his family is. She won't give anything up. She just says, please stop trying to figure out the answers, otherwise you'll just want to follow me more. You really can't follow me. You just have to let me do this. Otherwise, the world's going to be in a very bad place later on if you don't let me do this. He develops this tunnel vision kind of thing where he, every 9 years, he goes after her. He basically neglects his daughter. Michael C. Holt basically raises his daughter while he's off on this quest to find this murderer. Later on, we also meet a doctor named Rudy, Navarro, sorry, played by Rudy, but his name is Navarro. He has this idea, he's the one who kind of first has the idea that she's a time traveler, that a portal opens and she can come in. At the time he's introduced, no one believes him. And then later on, obviously, we realize that he was correct. And then much further into the movie, he starts aiding Raya. He says, you know, I had this epiphany that she actually is doing something that needs to be done. So he starts trying to help her. He ends up creating this injectable thing, whatever it was that she's using. He is the one who creates it. And that is, we never figure out what it is, but he is the one who ultimately creates it. So we end the end of the movie. At this point, Locke is fairly old. His daughter, I believe, is in her 20s now. His daughter's in her 20s. She is about ready to give birth to her child. Locke confronts the killer. He finally devises a way to know where she's coming into the world at. He sits there and he waits for her. And he's like, okay, now I've got you where I want you. I'm going to kill you. And she says, you can't kill me because I'm the one who's going to stop this apocalypse from coming. All these people that I'm killing are people who are forming a group who are eventually going to destroy everything in the world. And then she says, oh, by the way, I am your granddaughter. And I'm being born tonight. And you can't kill me because we're family. And then basically that's how it ends. He realizes that he's given up his whole life for this. He doesn't kill her. He allows it to happen. And what she actually does was good for society. It ended up being okay. So that's basically the movie. It is a lot like, I would say, Terminator, I thought, and where someone is sent from the future to kill someone from the past because he's going to help make something that is going to cause chaos. The plot line is almost exactly like Terminator, actually. It's very, very, very similar. There are obviously some differences, but the plot of this movie is Terminator. I thought the movie was good. I was surprised because I looked up the reviews on Rotten Tomatoes and I said, oh wow, this is going to be terrible. But I thought it was actually really good. There were a lot of tense moments in the movie where you don't know what's going to happen. There are a lot of people who don't make it, who you think probably will, and then they don't. And just to see this guy devoting his entire life to something, and he's basically fooling himself because he's devoting his entire life to this. And there's a point where his daughter, I mean, he's completely missed his daughter growing up, all the important things in her life. And there's a point where he's picking her up, I think, from high school, and he says, "Don't worry, like I'm gonna figure this out. I'm gonna solve this, and then things will go back to normal." And she says, "It doesn't work that way. Like you have missed all this time in my life. You didn't. I mean, obviously you think that this is something you should pursue, but I mean, look what you gave up." And at the end, he kind of realizes that, and I think it's kind of a moment where you just, I mean, you kind of feel bad for the guy, but you also feel bad for his daughter because she didn't really have the dad or the mom there when she was growing up. Um, and the movie doesn't. I mean, it's not a movie where you feel good at the end. It's a very sad movie. It's nice at the end that the world isn't destroyed and everything kind of goes back to peace and harmony. Um, but the way they got there was very tragic. It's a tragic movie. Um, so there's not much to it. This isn't going to be one of my like 20-minute long reviews. I thought it was a solid movie. I thought the acting was solid. The script, like I said, the script was good, but it's not an original. I thought of Terminator the entire time I was watching it. Terminator is a better movie. Terminator 2 is an even better movie than that. Um, but it was decent. I have sometimes when I'm watching a movie about time travel, I have some problems connecting dots right away. I'm not good with the whole time travel thing. Is why I had to watch Back to the Future a bunch of times. I love Back to the Future, though. Don't get me wrong; it's probably in my top 100 movies of all time. But I did have some issue. I had some problems following the timeline and this a little bit and what they were trying to do at the end, where she ends up being his daughter. I didn't see that coming at all. But then once it happened, I thought, well, maybe that was a little too easy. Um, it's pretty coincidental that he ends up being the one who is on the beat to this day where she's killing people, and he ends up being the one who uh, pursues this. If he hadn't gone in that day, if someone else had been putting on the beats, I mean, she's in the future, so obviously she knows she's going to have knowledge of what days he was on and what days he was doing all of this, but it's weird that it lines up every 9 years. She's giving birth. I don't know. I just thought it was a little bit of it was too coincidental. The stars really have to align for this to really work. Um, but I thought it was still really good. Um, anyway, I got one of those text messages where I said like I want a free iPhone or something, and it's not real, so I was just checking that out. Free iPhone, all right, that's good. But if I was going to give this, well, I am going to give this movie a rating out of 10. It's a 6. I'll say it's a 6 out of 10. I did say IMDb was a little bit low, sub 6. This would probably put it at a 60% on Rotten Tomatoes, which I think is fine. I would say 6. This movie's a 6 for me. I definitely have seen worse. But yeah, so I would say if you're into, I mean, it's definitely a movie that I think people should watch. It's not something that you should avoid like the plague. But yeah, so 6 out of 10. And when I do my next episode, I will hopefully be doing my top 10 least favorite movies of all time, but it's possible that my fiance and I will watch something else and I will review that. So that is it for now, and I hope to be back soon. Thank you. Have a great day.